Okay, let's talk baseball. When John Sherman bought the Kansas City Royals in 2019, he picked up the mantle ahead of a couple of years no one expected. Players took the field in front of cardboard cutouts in 2020 because of the pandemic. COVID issues lingered into last year, and then the lockout pushed the start of the 2022 season. It is quite an inheritance. But in his first sit-down interview as owner, Sherman tells our Karen Kornacki he's enjoyed the challenge.
I do pinch myself every once in a while. In fact, when we acquired the team, I would go back and forth between pinching myself, but also, this is a great privilege to get to do this in your hometown, but it's also a great responsibility that I take very serious. My thought is, a small market team, you have to evaluate well, you have to draft well, you have to develop well, and you have to build a nucleus, I think, from within, most cost-effective way. But then when you know you've got that nucleus and the time is right, you go out and spend money to make sure that you can compete at the highest level. We're trying to do a lot of things to more engage. We'll do all the bobbleheads and that stuff, but it's really about putting a competitive product on the field and having this be a quality entertainment experience, not just for the rabid sports fan, but for families that are coming out together.
Joining me now to preview this sit-down interview with John Sherman is KMBC9's Karen Kornacki. Karen, I watched this whole interview. Great job. But we call it a sit-down, but this was more like a friendly chat. What was the biggest takeaway from your time with John Sherman?
That he's the perfect man to own this team. I knew Mr. Kauffman, I knew Mr. Glass, and he has the same love and the same passion for baseball as well as this team, as well as for the city. So he joins in a very elite group of 3 owners, Mr. K, Mr. Glass, and now Mr. Sherman.
Any hints as to where he wants to take this team? It's no secret they've had a couple of down years, but as we just said a little while ago, pandemic factored into that, but now we're really starting to get to brass tacks with the team. Any plans for the future?
Well, if you're talking about the stadium, of course, that's all right now being researched, whether it should be downtown, whether they should stay put and just build a new stadium where they are, or even look at other areas. He's taking, as he calls them, all incomings, which are suggestions. Some, he says, have a lot of merit, some are kind of worthless, but he's looking at everything. If you're talking about the team, I think we've already seen some changes. Firing the hitting coach. He is big on development. That's what they did in Cleveland, and they went to a World Series, kind of like the Royals did, building a foundation and then adding key components after that. And he very much follows that plan like Mr. Glass did. You'll spend the money when the foundation is set, when the young players are ready to go, add in the key pieces and then go. He is big on development, and I think when hitting was not working, there was a change, and I think he put his stamp of approval on that, and you will see more of that because he wants to win. He wants to give this community a winning team, a team they can be proud of.
Sure. We know, as you said, many changes already starting to take shape. Does John Sherman strike you as the kind of guy who's going to dive into the dugout and start making changes down there, or does he stand back and just kind of have that front office kind of feel and let the manager and the coaches handle it?
Well, he's kind of in the middle. I mean, he's a hands-off owner. He trusts the people that he puts in place, but he keeps a close eye on what is going on because he's a big fan. He tells me that during a game, he'll walk around the stadium. He'll talk to people. He wants to watch the team from various angles. He loves the game of baseball. He's old school. But I think if those factors aren't working, he'll step in. He also will step in when money's on the line and they need more money to spend on something. But right now he's letting his baseball people do their job, and should there be a need for him to step in and make a change, he's not afraid to do that.
All right, real quick while we still have you, there's been a lot of frustration from fans about TV and being able to watch the game, or the lack of being able to watch the game. Did he have anything to say about that?
Oh, absolutely. And the one sentence he said was a perfect soundbite for television. He would rather focus on reach than revenue. He knows that streamlining is the way of the future, that the younger generation is looking at social media and apps on their phone, and he thinks that's very important to take the game. But he doesn't want anyone to be left out, and he doesn't want money to be a factor, and he really wants these companies who are streamlining not to worry about revenue now. That will come down the road. He wants to reach as many people as possible.
All right, love the interview. KMBC9's Karen Kornacki, thank you so much. There is so much from John Sherman that we are stretching out Karen's interview over 3 nights. Look for special coverage starting Wednesday night on KMBC9 News at 6.